After our interview with last week's guest, he showed us around the river in Albany Park and talked more about bike infrastructure. Take a listen. So, first of all, where are we? What is this spot that you're taking us through?
This is the confluence between the Chicago River and the North Shore Channel Trail in River Park in Budlong Woods, I guess is the neighborhood, Albany Park.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just where the river meets the North Shore Channel and then the river continues on downtown. But here there's a beautiful park, fishing, birds, nature area, a nice pool if you're interested in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And North Park University has a field on the west side that is largely open if you want to hang out.
That's awesome. That's super cool. And how does this kind of relate to your biking experience as like a piece of bike infrastructure? Because this trail, it goes a good ways, right?
Yeah, it's a good way to get through the north side that sort of crosses Lawrence and isn't western and goes from Lawrence to Evanston and Wilmette.
Okay. Ooh. I'll let you go ahead and lead the way.
Yep.
Ooh, these potholes right here.
Yeah, there's some deep ones.
Ooh. Yeah, it's a beautiful, you got a beautiful view of the river. It's a beautiful spot.
Yeah, and in the summer there's often volleyball and soccer games just in the field, so it's a good community asset that is used very well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Go ahead. I'll follow your lead.
Okay. On your left.
Yeah, and what does it look like for you kind of thinking about trails versus on-street routes in terms of what's the most important to you? Is it stuff like this? Is it on-street stuff?
I think it's all more is better. So trails are nice, but also we live in a city where there's buildings, where there's schools, where there's hospitals. So you can't tear something down to make a trail all the time. So they're great to have, but they're part of a bigger system that we need to think about the whole thing and not just if you have a trail, then you have what you need. It's really about, do you have a way to get where you're going and not just, do you have a place to ride on a trail?
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Yeah, and what is kind of like the road network around here? I know we're about to cross, I think this is Foster,
Yep.
right up here.
Yep.
Is it pretty safe to bike around on the streets here?
It is until it isn't. I mean, like, it mostly seems fine as long as you are confident and know what you're doing, but also I think it's hard to say that it's always safe, just knowing that with cars being large, with people being distracted, with people being in a hurry, it can get more dangerous than we would like, more quickly than we would like.
Yeah.
So it's really about like trying to make things the most safe most of the time.
Yeah. Oh, that absolutely makes sense. And yeah, I mean, it's such a pretty view. I'm in this area too.
Yeah.
And it's a very fun
And it's
spot.
great when in the spring they've turned this from sort of a takeover of buckthorn and mildly invasive trees to more of the prairie that used to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a lot of birds, a lot of flowers, and a lot of biodiversity just by having some open space.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned switching from a moving truck to biking. Is this one of those things where it's like, this is definitely not something you could have done behind a car? This is a very different experience.
Yeah, no, it is. And I actually used to bike this way before this looked like this, before they turned it into prairie. And this was one of my main routes. And it really, riding it now, is a very different experience because now the park is used so much more. There's so much more you can see, and it's so much just more enjoyable than driving in a giant truck that's smelly and old and feels very freeing to be out rather than in.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, and even now, I mean, it looks kind of dead, but there's still birds, there's still stuff happening, and
There's still stuff happening, and it looks this way because they did a controlled burn, which helps restore, it uses the ashes and the debris from the fire to help restore the prairie. So it looks this way on purpose, all in service of keeping the land and keeping the plants in, area healthy.
Yeah, that's super cool. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it was like 6 weeks ago. It was pretty recent.
Did you get to see it?
Yes. Or I saw part of it when they were like finishing up. So smelled very much like fire. There were a couple smoky spots, and the forestry or the park service was trying to like shuffle people around to make sure that no one got hurt, but it was just all here until it wasn't.
Yeah. That is super cool. Well, cool. Anything else you want to talk about on this trail before we wrap things up?
Let me think. Yeah, sure. I think that, Chicago is known as, or they call themselves the Herbs and Horto, the city in a garden. And the way that we preserve and maintain these green spaces means a lot to not just us, but to animals and to plants, and we're all part of an ecosystem, and it's really easy to forget that sometimes, but knowing that there's so much around us that doesn't really need us is very humbling and very rewarding to think about.
Yeah, that's super cool. Thanks for watching that interview. Subscribe to see more conversations with Chicagoans biking around their city, dropping every other week.